Mercedes looked at their practice test data, and it looks like the team from Brackley might have a better season this year, based on what they're saying. But right now, Mercedes has a really hard problem with their two drivers and picking favorites. If their car turns out to be fast. This gives us lots of reasons to think this season won't be boring at all for the Silver team. For them to do this, they need a car that can win races. So how much better is their new W5 car? The team has completely changed how they think about building their car, and they brought some cool new parts. They started with changes at the front of the car with the front wing and went all the way to the back with the floor and side parts. But during their practice tests, Mercedes wasn't trying to go super fast for just one lap like in qualifying. They wanted to learn as much as possible about how fast they could go in actual races. They wanted to see if the changes they made to their car worked the same way as their computer simulator showed them. When Russell talked about this, he explained what the team wanted to do and if they got better over the winter. He said it felt great to drive the W5 for the first time, and it really does feel like they're going in the right direction. But he can't hide that the other teams also did a really good job. They knew they had a huge challenge because of how good Red Bull was last year. Now they have a car where the airflow experts can focus on making more downforce. But Russell really wanted everyone to know that Mercedes wanted to collect as much information as possible instead of just looking for the car's best setup. This wasn't what they did in the past couple of years. This made their competitors like Red Bull worried. Red Bull said through Marco that Mercedes is definitely hiding some speed from their rivals in Brackley. The big question is whether it's enough to knock Red Bull off their winning streak, which seems pretty unlikely right now. Even Red Bull's technical director Pierre said that Mercedes' front wing surprised them, and it's a huge improvement for creating airflow around the Forbidden's W15 vortex. We'll talk about this more later in this video. Right now we want to focus more on what Mercedes improved over the winter and how they were able to make their simulator results work on the real track. One of the main problems the Brackley team was trying to fix was making the car more stable. This should be fixed with changes to the main body and gearbox design. But this makes it harder for Mercedes to work on other parts of the car, like making the W15's airflow performance better. Allison said this is the biggest problem with having to change both the main body and gearbox of the car. But many F1 experts think this could also be a trick where Mercedes wants to fool their competitors by making them look at the front wing design while they work on something much bigger in the back of their factories. When Russell talked about how the car performed during practice testing with all the changes they made, he said you can definitely tell right from the start if the car is better and if it's fun to drive. It definitely is better, no doubt about it. It was definitely fun to drive yesterday. I felt good with the car when the car feels nice, but it's not quite fast enough. You just need to find downforce in the right places. But with these current rules, there's definitely a perfect setup for all teams. You want the car as low to the ground as possible, but you can't go too low or you'll hit the ground or cause bouncing, which is still a little problem in the background for some teams. It doesn't take much to find that perfect setup and find lots of speed. Hopefully Red Bull already has that perfect setup and we can close that gap, but it's going to take lots of hard work to do it. The practice testing has been called a success by Mercedes because they found lots of speed that they couldn't have hoped for in the past 2 years with their broken design. The team found about 0.3 of a second improvement during practice testing, which isn't that much when you look at the numbers. But it's really important to talk about the fact that Mercedes didn't actually try for fast qualifying laps, and they mostly focused on making the car stable and their new design concept, according to Russell. It still needs a little bit more rear downforce, even though they moved the cockpit 100 millimeters back and changed the entire main body and gearbox. Hamilton has also praised the success the team had in the past couple of months, even though his move to Ferrari shows something different. Without even trying the W5 on the track for the first time, using the escape clause in his contract has caused some drama in the Mercedes team. The team would obviously stop Hamilton from visiting the factory at some point, including working on the 2024 version of their car because it will have lots of valuable secrets for the 2025 season when Hamilton will move his skills to the Ferrari team. It's not like he doesn't already know lots of stuff that's happening at Mercedes. It's just that if Mercedes turns out to be way more competitive than Ferrari in 2024, then they would have to be super careful about secrets getting out through Hamilton or some of the engineers who are leaving. When Hamilton talked about Mercedes last season, he explained what speed he was expecting from the W15 after testing it in Bahrain. He said they know they have work to do and they're not where they want to be yet. They knew that would be the case coming into the test, though. They have a great foundation to build on. They'll go away and work hard over the next couple of days to go through all the information from the test. He's really excited for the start of the season next week, and they'll be heading into it in good shape. The car has been handling well, which matches the feeling they had on the simulator before coming here. They have a very good base to build from. They know there's lots more lap time to find. They knew that would be the case before the test, and Red Bull is looking very strong once again. But he's confident they're in a much better place than they were 12 months ago. Obviously, the front wing's creative design has brought a lot to Mercedes being in this better place because all the air flow starts from the front of the car and continues to the back of it. So if it's wrong from the start, it will continue to be wrong in the rest of the car too. Many teams have already said they want to protest the wing's design, not because it's against the rules, but because it might create a trend that would basically go around the rules and create something quite weird. It would bring back the W15 vortex from the front wing in a different way, even though it was strictly banned by the FIA. Yes, it's a creative way of reading the rules, and you have to give credit where it's due. From this point of view, banning it would definitely show some unfairness from the FIA towards Mercedes when it comes to their own new ideas. But we still have to see whether this design will make it to the end of the season and whether other teams will copy it. When people talked about whether it's legal, Wolff was pretty sure that it was brought with the FIA's agreement through talking and not by them bringing the wing to the track and hoping it would be called legal just like that. Adding to this matter even more, Wolff said what was being put on the car has always followed and been discussed with the FIA throughout the process. It's not like you have a clever idea and then you put it on for the test, because that would be challenged, which is a long process. Still, the fact that Mercedes wouldn't have Hamilton's support throughout their development of the 2024 car, even though it's already been mostly changed based on his suggestions, shows that the team found themselves in quite an unwanted situation. The cockpit has been moved back 100 millimeters because Hamilton wanted it, and while the engineers at Brackley said Hamilton was wrong about the design and concept at first, it seems like they understood this a bit too late to convince him to stay on the team. What happens after his move to Ferrari is still to be seen and witnessed because of all the engineers he could bring with him to the Ferrari team. But considering the fact that it's much harder for a famous engineer to move from the team because of the gardening leave that Mercedes has put in their contracts, it's interesting to see how the 2024 season will turn out for the Silver Arrows. With this in mind, what do you think about the W5's performance during the practice testing, and more importantly, where do you think the team will be in the rankings in 2024? Let us know in the comments below, and once you do that, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now